Okay, last quick one. Just jump up here. So this is just like a chat I have preloaded, so you don't have to sit through the whole experience. But start building this app about my user data. It looks a lot like a dashboard, no big deal. And then I ask it like, hey, convert this to a map. And now we get, oops, I clicked the wrong one. Whoop, this worked a second ago. What's going on here? Okay, now it's working. In any case, the main thing here is just to highlight that there's this settings menu that I dropped in kind of quietly last week. I think I demoed a little bit about this with downloads maybe a week or two ago. This is live now, and we're adding this ability to add in app providers. Stacked on top of all of this, I'm not going to go through demoing all the different PRs I have, but there's going to be the ability to allow various image providers and other just like data source providers. This is per app. Eventually, we'll add the ability to also have an admin level setting, so you can just reset this once for all the apps in your instance or your organization. So
Nate,
yeah,
do we give it access to our Mapbox, or is it just going to use open source web stuff?
this PR, well, there's a couple answers to that. This PR just does open source stuff that requires no keys or anything.
Yep.
I didn't actually think about using our Mapbox account. We could talk about that. The additional controls that'll add like really discrete options to enable like image source and script source and whatever will effectively make it so that an app author can use their own Mapbox account or Google Maps account or whatever they want. We may make those part of this default eventually as well. But for the sake of keeping it small and easy to deploy, we're just starting with like the free ones. Yeah. And then I don't know, let's see if this works in theory. Hey, you probably can't see, but it did download some CSV data. And here, I'll switch my sharing to be full screen. So like, here's the CSV data. No idea if this PDF will work. Sometimes I've found that the PDF rendering requires a couple iterations. This time is not working. And I'd actually be surprised if it worked on this map, but we've definitely, like, there are definitely good examples where you can import a PDF generating JavaScript library and then convert the page you have into a PDF. A couple other things I'm not gonna, in addition to everything I just showed, I'm not gonna demo, but I'll try to record some demos and put them in product. Meredith has a PR that implements filtering correctly and filter attachment to queries. So we're gonna try to get that merged today or early next week. And there are a couple other fixes, like we've seen cases where people try to input these huge product briefs to build apps, and then inevitably the AI session falls over. So we've got some heuristics in a PR that will identify those conditions and then create a sort of to-do list and work through building the app as part of this to-do list. Try to get those up and in product in the next couple of hours.
Nate, the filtering PR you mentioned, that is pushing filters down into the query execution itself and kind of letting the app builder hopefully understand how to wire those things together to a hypothetical UI component that it builds.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Cool.
Nate, is it going to try to do that all the time? I'm just kind of thinking that I know one of the things that we like about the app experience is the response or like the latency of the in-browser interactions. Is it going to try to balance those things, or is it going to skew heavily towards filters, do we think?
I think it'll probably, like it builds the queries up front. And so it should detect when we can basically pull the entire data cube into the app, and then when we're hitting limits, use the filter-based approach. I mean, you can always like, of course, guide it. I guess
Yeah.
just give the AI feedback about how you want it to work.
Cool.
Cool.
Very cool. Thank you.
Cool. That's
Very
it.
well.
Thanks, everybody.